if you wanted, you could technically fill up the NetScratch file system. The system administrators won't like it, they'll probably come after you, but it's possible to do it. So if you look at the file system one more time, you can see that the NetScratch area is a fairly large directory structure. This 42 terabytes available, but still 67% is being used. So you can store quite a bit of data in the NetScratch directory while you're working on something. The thing to remember is if it's something important, for example, if you have a results file that you've generated after running a program, you need to make sure that you move it out of the NetScratch onion area, because though this area does not have quota limit, there is a finite limit of time some data can stay in this particular area. And I believe it's 21 days, so if you don't touch a data file and do something with it in 21 days, they are going to automatically delete that file, and you will get a mail after the fact saying that this file was deleted. So they don't warn you beforehand. So always remember to move an important file that you generated in the NetScratch into, for example, your home directory or to your local desktop. Don't put it off, because it's quite possible that if the 21 days limit gets exceeded, it will be deleted and you will get a mail saying that the file has been deleted. So that's something to keep in mind as you work in the NetScratch area. So we're going to start working with directory hierarchies. Can everyone at least glance at the page 4 of my handout? We are going to try to create a, I don't know about you, but I like being slightly organized in the stuff I do. Especially as you start working with next generation sequencing data, you're going to find that the file sizes, the data sizes are going to be very, very large. So if you just start stuffing things into a common directory and calling them my project 1, my project 3, after a while, everything sort of starts looking the same. So it's very important, I think, to get into a habit of organizing the work that you do, and you probably already all do that. We're going to learn how to create a directory structure so we can start organizing the work that we're going to be doing. And this is a sort of a my project hierarchy that I've set up, wherein I'm going to be working with some array data. I have some next generation sequencing data, for example, and then I've done some RT-PCR. So this would be a nice structure for you to create for organizing this data. All of you should now be in the NetScratch area, right? So let's go ahead and start creating the directory structure. Since this directory structure in Unix is hierarchical, we have to obviously create the top level directories first and then start creating the directories that are going to be under that directory. So the first directory that I want to create is called my project. So we are going to learn a new command, mkdir, seems simple, logical enough, make directory. Get into the habit of using underscores, as I'm going to do right now. You can do my space project. Unix will let you create that directory. It will be harder to access on the command line. So I'm going to say make directory called my project. So this is, I think I already have this directory in here. So let me move it to. So now you don't have to do this. Just see this as I'm pressing the tab. It's completing the names automatically. And then I can always come back and say what I'm doing here. Can someone tell me what I'm doing here? Yeah. So I'm not copying, I'm moving. So there's slightly difference in copying and moving. If I had said CP, it would have actually made a copy of the directory. By doing a move, I'm actually moving the name from this to back. So that way now, by the way, I think let's do the. Yeah, so ls is actually a command for listing files. So that's list files. So if you do ls and press return, you should not have anything in your directory because we just landed in your NetScratch area and there's nothing in it. So let's go ahead and create something in there for you to see. So there's a command called touch, if you are not sure if you have access, for example, to write to a certain file system in Unix, you can try this command called touch and then give it a file name. So I'm going to say touch file name. So what this command is doing is it's going to create a blank file with this file name called file name. So when I press return, now if you do a listing, you should have a file in there called whatever name you used. I used the file name, which is sort of dumb, but that's what I did. Does everyone have a file in there? So touch is another command. So touch actually will create a file, a blank file, using whatever file name you give it. So if I say touch my file, it's going to create a file. See, I used the file name called file name, so I now have a file that got created. So did everyone do that? So now if you do a listing, do an ls, you should see the file that you just created. Now this is not very useful because if you just do ls, all it shows you is just the name of the file, but it's not showing you how big is it, what kind of a file is it. And for that, we are going to start extending the command by adding an option. So most of the Unix options are going to be provided by using a hyphen followed by a letter or a set of characters. So in this case, we are using L. So what I want to do is I want ls to show a long listing, not just the names, but I want to see a long listing. So when you do ls-l, this gives us a longer listing, and you can see that I created two files which are blank. That's why they have 0 bytes. You know, all I did was the touch command just made a blank file. It doesn't have any contents in it. But it allowed me to verify that I do have write access to this directory that I am in, because I was able to create a file. If you were in a directory that you didn't have write access to, you will normally just error out if you use the touch command. Everyone clear? Right. So let's go ahead and now, so you've already done it. I'm just going to quickly create my project. So you probably have two things. One is the directory that you just created, which should be in blue, because advantage of using, I think, a modern terminal is that the directories are colored differently than the regular files, for example. So you can easily see what is what. This is an extension of the basic terminal that is used. And then you should have the files in here. We'll talk about the file permissions towards the end of the class. So let's go ahead and all of you know how to change directories now. So we're going to change directory to this directory that I just created. So we are here, we created our top level directory. So we've taken the first step. I've changed that directory. I'm going to re-verify that I'm in the correct directory. For now, go ahead and type in the full path. I will show you how to do the relative paths in just a little bit. So underneath the My Project directory, I want to create 3 directories. Now, what I can do is I can issue 3 separate commands. So I'll go up and say that make directory arrays. And I can basically issue either 3 separate commands and create the 3 directories. But again, keeping in with the theme of typing as less as possible, Unix allows you to issue multiple options to the mkdir command on this line itself. So you can create all of the 3 directories by using a single command. So what we are doing now is we are saying make directories arrays next gen sequencing. All you have to do is separate the 3 directory names that you are creating by a space. So that basically allows you to create 3 directories in one shot instead of issuing 3 separate mkdir commands. And you can verify that the directories did get created by using ls-l. So every file access you do in Unix is going to be automatically tagged with a date and a timestamp. So as soon as you create a file, it's automatically going to get the tag of the time it got created and the day on which it was created.